Hey guys, welcome to the Academic Answers podcast. This is a podcast where we answer the questions on personal development, on happiness, on success, on the best way to live your life, a life of happiness. Because if you cannot be happy, then what else is there? As Rick Mars said, there's nothing that trumps happiness, and happiness is all we're after. You know, there's this famous story about a businessman who was vacationing, I think who was in Mexico, and he was sitting on the beach having a good time, enjoying the sun and taking a breather from his hectic 9-to-5 job in America. And there was this guy who come to fish on the beach, and he watched the guy coming every morning with a boat, get his fish, and say to him, "Hey man, you're leaving money on the table. Why don't you go out at 5 o'clock in the morning, you get a boatload of fish. Why don't you use that money, get another boat, get more fish?" So the businessman, the fisherman asked him, "For what?" He said, "So you can sell more and buy 4 more boats, because you have to scale your business." And then the fisherman asked him, "For what?" "And after I scale my business, what?" He said, "Well, you get to make more money." And he says, "Okay, when I make more money, what do I do?" He says, "Well, you establish a company and you hire people to work for you." And the fisherman said, "And then I do what?" The guy says, "Well, then you go home and you can relax on the beach." He says, "Well, that's what I do now. I go I fish, I go home, and I get to relax on the beach. I'm happy." So sometimes we are pursuing stuff that is meant to make us happy when we don't really have to go through all of that to be happy. That's separate and apart from the need to scale and the need for more and the need for all that stuff. But I'm just making the point that happiness is everything. You chase all the material things so you can be happy. So if you can be happy with less material stuff, then you'll have more lasting happiness, because material stuff are frivolous and they are fleeting. They'll elude you, they'll own you, they'll consume you, and they take a massive amount of energy. Because what you own owns you. If you have a mansion, you have to staff it, you have to supervise staff, you have to hire somebody who you have to supervise them. You have to pay, you have to make more money, do more work to clean it, to take care of it, to maintain it, to fix issues. And maybe you're not that type of person. Maybe that's not what you want. Maybe you like a simple life. So you pretty much have to be true to yourself. Know what ticks you, know what is good for you, know what you're happy. I'm not in no position to tell people what makes them happy and what don't make them happy. I'm just saying that you must learn and really truly understand what makes you happy, and don't go after the things that people tell you that you want to be happy. Geek out and go down deep and find out what is it that you really want. What type of lifestyle you want. What do you enjoy doing? What would you like to wake up in the morning and do? What are the things that are appealing to you? Because we all are different, and different things make us tick. So this morning I want to talk about gratitude and being satisfied. I think I said in a conversation the other day, why this came up is that I say in a conversation the other day that I am grateful for what I have, but I want more. And someone said to me, what kind of contradicting statement that is. I'm grateful for what I have, but I want more. And they asked me, do you have enough? And I said to him that enough is relative and enough is fleeting. And that's what triggered the conversation and the argument and the debate. How can you say you're grateful, meaning that, how can you say you have enough and then you're saying you want more? It's simple though. It's a simple explanation. And this is my take on it. You can tell me your take. Enough today is not necessarily enough next week or next month or next 5 years, because you don't control all the variables. I was going through my notes, through my paperwork about 5 years ago or 10 years ago. I was going through some paperwork, and I know we were in a business where we were supplying goods to international people who happened to come to the island to do business. And I remember running into a receipt with a tin of sardines, and the price was something like $1.35 Jamaican dollars. And at that point in time, the price of that sardine, when I actually saw the bill, which was a 5-year-old bill, 5 years ago, like 5 years before I bought it for $1.35, and it was something like $6 or $8. So suddenly, if I had $10 when I bought the first tin, I was able to buy almost 10 tins. Now suddenly I barely could buy 2 tins. I had enough 5 years ago, same money, but now that enough has changed. Now I don't have enough anymore. Not because of my doing, it's the same $10, the same tin of sardine, but there are external variables, inflation, increase in prices, all sorts of stuff that happens in an economy. And so is life. Life changes. There's nothing remain stagnant. You're either growing or you're dying. You're either progressing or you're regressing, because time shifts things. So what you are sitting on now that you think is enough, in a couple of years, a couple of months, in a couple of weeks, it could be inadequate. So you can move from enough to inadequate in a very short space of time. You can move from enough to inadequate in a very short space of time. I'm not talking about only material things. In your knowledge, in your career, in your fitness, in your health, in your mental faculties, things do shift. Things do shift. And when it shifts, if you are not of a growth mindset, if you're not keeping up with getting more, if you are not leveling up, if you are not 10xing, you will find yourself with enough today and too little tomorrow. So while you're grateful for what you have now, grateful is not a point where you become contented. Gratitude doesn't suggest that. Gratitude suggests that you understand what you have and realize that you're fortunate to have it at this point in time, because there are many people who don't, but at the same time, you're not getting comfortable. And what the human experience and human nature is looking for the next level of comfort. And you see that with businesses, with the dot-com era and the dot-com trends, where people who are making loads of money out of brick and mortar businesses suddenly can't keep their stores open because the online wave has come and has wiped them out. They were not prepared, they had not leveled up, they were not adopting, they were not growing, they were not changing, and suddenly what they have or what they had as enough has now become inadequate. Not enough customers, not enough hits, not enough sales, not enough revenue, because things had changed and it's shifted to a point now where what was enough is now inadequate. So my point is, being satisfied doesn't suggest that you must be contented. My grandmother always talk about contentment. Be content, be content. And there's a blurred line. But satisfied means you are appreciating the present, but you understand that there is more. Everything, the essence of life is growth. You must become fitter, you must become healthier, you must become richer, you must become more kind, you must become more kind or kinder, you must become more generous, maybe the same thing as kind, you must become more faithful. Everything that is positive suggests more or demand that you do more if you are to even experience that level that you're at for a long time. Because doing 10 and sitting at level 10 demands that if you want to stay at level 10, you have to start doing 20 in a couple of days or a couple of months. You have to do more to maintain the same level. That's how life is. You will have to do more to maintain the same level. Because as you get to a level, then there's another level to get to in order to protect the one you're at. As Nelson Mandela often say that once you have climbed one mountain, you'll realize that many more mountains are there to climb, or another one is lined up for you to climb it. That's a whole idea that we talk about every day that is common everywhere about comfort zone. That is being satisfied in a manner that you think that you have enough. You're good. There's a job. You get a paycheck. You have a house. You have a mortgage. Money in the bank. You can buy food. 2 people in the house are working. That's it. You're good. I don't need to upgrade my skill. I contribute to my 401k. I have a waiting on my social security is being paid. I'll get that retirement. And then one day you wake up and it's all gone. It's wiped. It's the stock market goes down. It's disappearing. And you could live all your life in that zone, getting comfortable with situations that you don't have control over. And that's a key. That's a very key point. Being comfortable in situations that you don't control. So you could go to work and the boss say, go home. Or somebody could say, well, this 401k that you have here is cut in half, or it's disappeared, or you're not going to get your pension. And you cannot do anything about it. So you're hoping for the best. That is the absolute worst thing or situation to be in. Hoping for the best when you still have the ability to affect the direction that something or a thing or a certain thing can go. So hoping for the best. You know the people, well, I hope you'd be like sitting at your house, well, I hope that this Uber will just call me and ask me when will I be ready, and tell me when it's outside and come and open the door for me. No, you don't do that. You want to go, you pick up the phone, you put in your specs, your information, the Uber comes, send you a message, tell you how much it's going to charge your credit card, it's outside, you get up and you go outside. You play a part in the direction you want to go. You assume the reins of your journey. Take it over. Participate in whatever it is that you want to happen for your life. I often tell people this, that your job controls how much they pay you. They don't control how much you make. Your job controls how much they pay you. They can determine that. They set that. They tell you that from the get. They don't control how much you make. What do I mean? So the guy pays you $500 a week. Argument's sake, $500. Every week, you get $500. Uncle Sam takes his, tax guy takes his. You're sitting at $500 in your bank. One guy says, okay, I have my bills. This is my bills. I pay all these bills. I put this money in my pocket. I go for a drink. I eat food. I put $50 somewhere, and I save it, and that's what I do every week. Other guy says, well, you know what? I get $500 for my job. This $50 I am saving to build my website, set up my e-commerce store, run my Facebook ads, and every week after the guy paid me 500, out of that 500, I utilize 150 or 50 or 100, and I make another 150. So now I'm at 650. The job paid me 500, but I've gotten myself another 150. So now I make 650, but the job paid me 500. Because you're not satisfied. You're not opening up your life to be directed and pulled and jolted by everything else out there that you can control. I know the rain will fall, I know the sun will come, I know the snow will come. We can't control that, but there's a lot of things that you can control. And the two things, I talk about them all the time, that actually plays into our whole control and how we operate is what we do with our time and what we do with our money and our belief systems around those things. If you decide that you want more, if you decide that this is not for me, if you decide that there must be another way, if you decide that I have the potential, I have the ability to figure this out, if you decide that I will not stop at anything until I know what my life could be, if you decide that I am going for this all out, if you decide that I am worthy, if you decide that there must be another way, if you decide all those things and you're relentless in figuring it out, then you can move away from the whole inevitable concept of when enough becomes inadequate. When all that you had has dwindled in its value and you can't do anything about it, and all you can sit on is the memories of what used to happen. I remember a friend of mine who was when we were doing business together, he was going into real estate, doing a bunch of stuff. We were all making money, making good money, but he was doing real estate. He was trying to convince me to come in. I wasn't doing it. I was saying, it's not fast enough, it's this, it's that, much to my stupidity. When all hell broke loose, when things started to crash, when we started to lose a lot of money in business, he could ride it out because he never thought he was making enough. And when that enough that he had became inadequate, he went to his real estate and sold some and got himself back on track. You have to understand that the world is not waiting on you. Things will not stay the same. You don't have control over all these things that could affect your enough. So you now have to decide that I want more. I'm satisfied with what I have, but it doesn't mean that what I have will have the same value tomorrow as it have today. My January dollar might be 30 cents in September. And you operate that way. You operate in a growth mindset. And do not sit there and say, okay, I'm good. And before you know it, your competition overrun you. You can't keep pace and you fall right back to where you're coming from. Have a good one, guys. Don't sit on enough, because enough often or inevitably will become inadequate. Want more. Grow, leverage, build. Thank you.